Hi everybody, this is Heather with the Eastern Panhandle Conservation District, and I want to say Happy Pollinator Week. So to celebrate Pollinator Week, we are going to be reading a book about bees. So this book is titled Why Do We Need Bees? And this is written by Katie Danes, and it is illustrated by Christine Pine. And this is also one of Usborne's Lift the Flap books. So this is actually written by what we would call like bee experts. So there's a lot of really great information in these books, and they're also super interactive. So why do we need bees? What are bees? Bees are buzzing, flying insects. Many have stripes, and some even make honey. So what's an insect? The name given to a very large group of very small animals. They all have 3 parts to their bodies and 6 legs. So this is an ant. This is an ant, which is an insect. This is not an insect. And these butterflies and ladybugs are insects. So what about this? Have you ever seen these in your yard? This is a baby bee called a larva. It grows from a tiny egg. Can all insects fly? No. Some just walk, and others even swim. So what do bees look like close up? They have 4 wings, 2 on each side. They have hairy body and 3 parts, so 1, 2, 3. They have 2 feelers to smell and touch things. And they have teeny tiny claws to grip onto things. So this is a honeybee. What about this? That's a bumblebee. What about this? I'm a hairy-footed flower bee. I'm a sweat bee. I'm not a bee. I'm a wasp. Will they sting me? No. Bees only sting if they feel in danger, so just keep still and let them buzz on by. How many different kinds of bees are there? That's a beetle. There's over 20,000, from the tiny stingless bee to the blue orchard bee. But why do we need bees? Because they spread pollen by visiting flowers, and that helps plant grow. So what is pollen? A dusty powder inside flowers. Plants need pollen from other flowers to make their seeds and grow new plants. So if I were to pick off one of these pretty lilies here, can you see the pollen? If I get some on my fingers, see how it's really yellow? See how that's all the pollen that gets stuck right there in the middle of that stamen. So why do bees visit the flowers? To get food. They suck a sweet liquid called nectar and collect pollen to eat later. So how do bees spread the pollen? By flying from flower to flower. Pollen sticks to the bee's fuzz, then rubs off on the next flower. And if you look really close, I'm actually getting pollen all over my book. So I'm able to spread pollen to my book. So how do bees help this plant? This is a little raspberry plant. They spread its pollen so it can grow. Seeds then grow on the inside of the fruit. Do all plants need bees? No. Pollen is also spread by other insects and also by the wind. So think of dandelions when they go to seed and they have those little white balls of fluff. They're spread by the wind. So why do we need bees? Because without them, we couldn't grow lots of the fruits and vegetables that we eat. What will happen to these flowers? After the bee visits, the petals will fall off and green beans will grow in their place. So where do bees live? All over the world. Some live in big groups and others live on their own. So what's this? It's a beehive, a home for honeybees. People keep bees in hives so they can collect their honey. So what's inside this hole? Have you ever come across a big hole in the ground? It's a bumblebee nest. Over half the bees in the world make their nests underground. It can be kind of scary if you come up on one and you weren't expecting it. So where can I see a nest like this? In tropical forests and other warm places. In colder places, wild honeybees make their nests inside hollow trees. So where do you think bees around here in West Virginia make their nests? Do you think they live outside like this or inside of a hollow tree? Yeah, a hollow tree for sure. She doesn't have one. She's a cuckoo bee. She sneaks into other nests and lays her eggs there. That's pretty sneaky. So where are all these bees going? Wait for me to set up a new nest. Theirs is too crowded. What are these circles for? Making little rooms to lay my eggs in. I'm a leaf cutter bee. Well, who lives here in this little bench right here? A carpenter bee. She chews out tunnels for a nest and lays her eggs. So there's the tunnels. You usually see the little hole on the outside of your wooden structure. And then they make these holes, and then their egg and their food is at the very end of the hole. How do bees make honey? They collect sweet nectar from the flowers and store it in their nests. Do all bees make honey? No. Bees that live on their own don't. Bees that live in groups make at least a little bit. Which flower should I visit? Look at these. We've got poppies and daisies. Bees use smell and sight to find flowers with pollen and nectar. So there's some pollen here. There's no nectar in here. Many flowers have lines to guide bees to the nectar. See how this blue flower? They kind of point it straight to the middle so they know where to go. How do bees carry all that nectar? In special insect tummies. The nectar is passed from bee to bee. See this little guy? Follow me. Bumblebees make honey in pots in their nests. See right here? This is a little honey pot. Why is this bee dancing? Because it's fun to dance, right? But for a bee, it's to tell other bees where to find the best flowers. So fly to the right of the sun. That's what this little bee is saying. How do beekeepers collect honey? They lift out the honey frames and carefully brush off the bees, like he's doing right here, and whiz the frames around so the honey spins out. Then they slice off the wax lids. Why are you hovering here? I'm fanning the nectar with my wings to turn it into thick, sweet honey. And this one is sealing the honey with a wax lid. How do bees enter the hive? Through a little gap at the bottom. Coming through right there. So who's who in a hive? A hive has a queen bee, thousands of female worker bees, and many male drone bees. So out of these, which one do you think is the queen? I am. I'm the mother of all the bees in the hive. We're her daughters. We're the worker bees. So here you can see that the queen is the biggest one. How do bees grow up? The queen lays an egg. It grows into a larva. The larva grows bigger and changes, and then it crawls out as a bee. But what are all these hexagon shapes? Now that's the hexagon. Does it have 4 sides or 6? That's right, it's got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're little spaces called cells. Bees make them for storing food and hatching eggs. But what's going on in here? There's like a big glob of honey. A new queen bee is growing. She eats lots of royal jelly to make her bigger than the other bees. So let's see on this page what the worker bees do. They clean out the cells. They make wax to build more cells. They collect nectar and pollen for the hive. They feed honey and pollen to each larva. And they guard the entrance to the hive. Go away, wasp. So, what are the drone bees? The only male bees in the hive. They fly off and search for new queen bees. Amazing bees. Find out some more amazing facts about bees and why they need our help. So how do bees buzz? By moving their wings very quickly, 200 times in a second. How many bees make a jar of honey? Around 20,000. One bee makes only 1/8 of a teaspoon of honey in its lifetime. Can bees talk to each other? Sort of. Not like we do, but through their dances and through smells that they make. Are bees in danger? Yes. Many bees are dying out. Changes in our towns and countryside means it can be hard for bees to find enough flowers. How can we help the bees? By giving them places to live and planting more flowers for their food. Can bees live in towns? Yes, if there are enough flowers around. Window boxes, gardens, and parks are all good places for flowers. Rooftops can be a great place for beehives. How long have bees been on Earth? Since dinosaur times. That's a really long time. People have been keeping honeybees around for thousands of years. So they've even found honey and beehives from ancient Egyptian times. So I hope you enjoyed my book about bees, and don't forget to plant flowers whenever you can. Watch what types of insecticides you use around your garden or around your house. And always make sure that if you do come across a bee, you don't swat at it. You just try to stay still and let it pass. Thanks. Bye-bye.